Director Matthew Vaughn's new movie Argylle, which was one of my most anticipated movies of this year before I watched it. You got Henry Cavill as Agent Argylle, who is the main character of the Argylle books, written by Ellie Conway, who is now going on the run with the agent played by Sam Rockwell because her books have turned into prophecy, and Bryan Cranston, the head of the division, is coming after them.
Just like the Simpsons.
Not sure I want to start with this one. AJ, let's start with you on this one. What did you think about Argylle?
I think it was horribly fun. I don't think the movie was good, but I liked watching it, you know. Going into it, I was just more so like, okay, I see the names. I see who's in it. So it should be smooth. And that first initial scene, like I didn't know anything about it going into it. So I didn't know like anything about Ellie or just like the books in general. So once I realized like, oh, this is not what I thought it was going to be, it kind of just like had me like kind of like rewipe my mind. And then the CGI was so bad in that little car scene. I was like, oh Lord, I was like, I'm in for a ride. Like this is gonna be interesting. But I did enjoy watching it, but I feel it lost me at the end. So that's kind of where I started with it.
I was one of the people who didn't mind watching this trailer every time at the movie theaters, because I was like, if this is like an outlandish action comedy the way Kingsman was, the way something like Bullet Train was, I'm down for this. So I had really high expectations. I know you said it lost you at the end. For me, it kind of lost me like halfway, sort of.
Yeah.
I don't mind some bad CGI because with a Matthew Vaughn movie, it's supposed to look a little cartoonish, but the dialogue wasn't funny. Sam Rockwell is so funny. I was so excited for him in this movie, but it feels like he works with really lazy dialogue. And the problem for me was just all the twists that they threw in.
Yeah.
I don't want to get into spoilers in this review at all, but it's just, I feel like with all the twists that they try to throw in, they ended up ruining their main character. And they also try to throw in a romance for her that didn't work for me at all and felt really random. And it's not even that, it's just the execution of it wasn't great. The music's all right. Matthew Vaughn as a director, he manages to make it look visually, like you said, colorful. And honestly, the whole color scene I really liked. Even the music choice, I was like, oh, this is funny. And then the whole, Bryce Dallas Howard being the first person in history to oil skate.
Yeah.
We'll just leave it at that. But it just took 2 hours to get there of tiring plot twist. And also this one, I won't get into what it is, but like also right before that, we talked about this in The Kingsman, but there's also sort of like this sad dead spot in the movie where I was like, oh, we're really going here. And yeah, again, I feel like we should get a lot more movies with this energy, but the script needs to be a lot better. Also, the division, it's like they're evil. Like that's all we really get. Bryan Cranston was a little cheesy for me in this one. Like they do bad things. We need to expose them. Like we don't even understand a single bad thing that they did.
Yeah.
Okay. They're corrupt.
Yeah.
They're the U.S. government.
It just seemed like
U.S. government.
It just seemed like a lot of stuff that I have seen before. Like I think for me the most interesting thing was initially was Bryce Dallas Howard's character and how she was experiencing life at that moment. Just because like she's a writer, so she already think different, But like once this movie starts to get going, it's just like you're getting to see like the different moments of like realization and just getting to see this character experience it in a way that's like, I think I know what's going on, but maybe not. I don't know. We gotta keep on watching, and then kind of like at a certain point in the movie, they just kind of cut that at the knees, and now we're just watching a completely different thing, and it's just all about skating on oil and Yeah, like
Yeah.
but
Another thing that really I hoped would have been a lot more invested into was like the playing off between the literature and the reality,
yes.
which they try to do in one scene where it's like showing it contrasting, but then they completely just ditch that for something else. And I feel like you could do that really well and make it feel meta, because that's what Matthew Vaughn's been trying to do with his last couple movies up from the first Kingsman. Because, you know, it makes me think back at like The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent, where it's like about a struggling movie star, plus he's in his own action movie in reality. But it was kind of just because if we had instead of all of it playing out at the same time, we could have maybe had Henry Cavill and John Cena in it more, them having their own scenes and seeing how those correlate in a more creative way. I feel like the movie could have used more of Cena. We could have used a lot more of Ariana DeBose, who I love. Yeah.
I feel like this movie had like a good foundational idea of what they wanted to do, but the execution just was not there. Because to have the amount of people that they have in this movie, like, and not use them in a meaningful way was just like, dang, like what was the point of that? And then like they kind of just like throw them around. I won't say what happens in the end, but where it's just like now we're supposed to be just like, oh, there he is, like, you know, like I don't know what it is about that decision that is just like, bro, like y'all had what y'all really needed. But because this is like a Matthew Vaughn, right, movie, you try to take it up a notch, but too many notches too far from like where the core of the story really is. You know, like adding the love scenes in there, adding like the different lore parts of it. Like it just became like just continuously piling on new information without, you know, bringing what we already know forward, and it kind of just gets lost. And I was just like, bruh, this is fun to watch, but this is not good.
Yeah, they had all the right actors. They had the right director. The script just needed a lot more rewrites for me. Even the action scenes, I think, are like, some of them I would go back and watch on YouTube once this movie comes out on digital or whatever. But yeah, I just think in this one, Matthew Vaughn mistakes having a lot of twists for being like this super genius movie that's like subverts the expectations of what you'd expect from him, but it's really just sort of psyching you out on what kind of movie you're watching and how you're supposed to feel.
Yeah, and it uses like different tropes, like The Division. I don't know if y'all saw that show back in the day. I mean, it was not Division; it was called Nikita, but The Division was in there. So it was just like, it was like certain things where I was like, dang, this is like they're talking about like cool things, but it's like they're not really doing the things that would back it up. Like if you're gonna put Walter White in a movie, put Walter White in a movie. You know, like I think the initial twist was probably like the best, but once that was over, I was like, oh dang, well, when's it going to end? Like,
yeah,
it should have ended like 3 times.
Got to know how to not. This kind of gets lame from after that, like high of, oh, here's the twist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they kind of like over explain it too.
Right. It's like a lot of exposition, a lot of like waves of exposition at you. You still don't get what the freaking Division does. That's so evil. Besides going after the 2 main characters. And now Matthew Vaughn's like really pressed on making this into a franchise because of there's a lot of source material. There's book 4 he says this one is like taking scenes from, now he wants to adapt book 1. And if that whole idea so soon feels really forced, but I do hope I hope Ellie Conway comes out one day out of the shadows and says, "Hi, it's me." Like, y'all, if y'all don't know the story, to our watchers, to our viewers, Ellie Conway has not agreed to confirm her identity, even speak to the filmmakers of Argylle. She basically wrote Argylle, which is, spy novels with the character of Agent Argylle, but as sort of a play on this idea that now no one knows who Ellie Conway is because she's very secret and anonymous about her identity. They decided to make her a character in the movie, which I think is a very meta idea. Mm-hmm. And it also led to interesting speculation at one point that Taylor Swift was, I don't know how that came to be, but there was something where like Taylor Swift posted a video of her and a cat that looked like the cat from Argylle. And then they were like, oh, is this Taylor Swift writing Argylle? Did y'all hear about this?
Nah.
So what's our ending rating out of 10 for Argylle? AJ, why don't you hit us first?
I get it on a 6. Which was bad.
All right. I went 4 out of 10.
Oh,
unfortunately, because the second half just really did not do it for me.
Kill shot.
And it's because I was so excited for it.
Yeah.
But yeah. Hopefully better things again for Matthew Vaughn. Hoping for that proper Kingsman 3. He says he's working on it. Which he wants to be like the final Colin Firth, Taron Egerton film. And he wants to make The Kingsman 2 with Hitler as the bad guy. Apparently the Traitor King is what he wants to call it. So yeah, big things ahead for Matthew Vaughn, I guess.
Who's going to play that role? Right.
There was a post-credit scene at the end of The Kingsman where it's like, and what is your name? It's like Adolf Hitler. And it's like the guy who murders like Tsar Nicholas or something in The Kingsman.
Yeah.
Which is definitely not true about Hitler, but he was not the guy who was there taking the photo. But yeah, interesting stuff ahead.
Yeah.
But yeah, this has been a really great action-packed episode. And thank you so much for joining me and talking about the history of spy comedy franchises as well as Argylle. Yes, so, AJ, where can we find you on social media, the internet? Plug it all.
Yeah, you can find me at AJ Wallace Reviews on everything. Try to get at least one review out a week, plus a whole bunch of social content. And I also have a podcast with my homie Chris called The Why I'm Geek Show, where we basically be just debating movies, Marvel, all that. So that's where you can find me.
Awesome. So follow our guests, check out their stuff about movies and so on. And of course, check out Argylle. Don't check out Argylle. Wait until the plane or the Blu-ray DVD. Do as you please. And yeah, again, I'm Gall. Find us at Feature Fanatics Pod. Check out the rest of our stuff here on YouTube. And thanks again for tuning in.
Peace.